Our meetings in public, not public meetings. Just realised there is a microphone. I hope that works better. The meeting is being streamed live over MS Teams and recorded and will be available on the ICB website after the meeting. I will invite questions from members of the public at the end of the meeting on any item that has been raised during the meeting that's on the agenda. And if members of the public raise your hand at that time, I'll make sure that you're brought in and your questions will be taken. And we will also be taking some questions submitted in advance of the meeting, which Tracy Shulman will read out for me shortly. So can I ask everybody online if you would mind making sure you're on mute and just closing down your camera until you may want to make a point, then obviously we'll invite you to join us on camera and microphone. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so apologies. Jill, I've got Paddy Hannigan, Dr. Paddy Hannigan. Is that the only apology we've received? And we are quorum, Paul, fully quorum. Within the papers, you will see at enclosure 1, the Leadership Compact. This is a very important document that we use to guide all of our meetings, and it guides the way in which we conduct our business, and we will return to that at the end of the meeting to double check that we have complied with the statements within that compact. So just pause now and ask if there are any conflicts of interest any board member wishes to raise that's not already on the register. Thank you. Then we'll turn to the minutes of the meeting that was held on the 21st of December. And if we could go through those for accuracy first, page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. Everybody happy with the content of the minutes? Thank you. The action log that's contained is clear. There's no outstanding actions. So we will move into, if we can, Tracy, please, any questions that have been submitted by members of the public in advance of the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. There's been 3 questions that have been submitted in advance, and I'll read each one in turn. So these are questions submitted by Mr. Ian Syme. Number 1 is elective weights 104 weeks, 78 weeks and 65 weeks. The Chief Executive Officer of University Hospitals Derby and Burton, in his paper to the board meeting of the 9th of January 2024, stated that UHDB does have 78 plus week waiters. UHDB, of course, provides elective services to our ICS residents at their Queen's Hospital Burton unit, which is geographically situated within Staffordshire. What is the 104, 78 and 65 week situation for Staffordshire residents awaiting elective treatment at the Queen's Hospital unit of University Hospitals of Derby and Burton?
For the question, Phil, are you able to
Yes.
respond to Ms. Syme's question?
Thank you, and thanks for the question. So we monitor waiting times for all of our residents, regardless of the provider that they're being treated at. In terms of UHDB, I've previously advised this board that they were moved into Tier 1 national oversight, which is the same level of oversight that UHNM is in. The latest data I've got, which is from the 7th of January, shows that we don't have any residents waiting over 104 weeks at Burton. 15 are waiting 78 to 103 weeks, and 352 are waiting 65 to 77 weeks. That is just for the Burton site as requested. If we were to open that out to look at the whole of UHDB, we have 42 residents on the waiting lists there.
Thank you, Phil. Tracy?
The second question, again from Mr. Syme. Elective weights, demographic, children and young people. Has the ICB, there's 2 parts to this question, has the ICB got specific data as to the numbers of children and young people re 104, 78 and 65 week weights? And if so, what are the numbers per each standard? And the second part is, if whilst a child or young person reaches 18 years old, whilst waiting for an elective procedure, is the child treated as an adult or a paediatric patient?
Thank you, Tracy. Phil?
Okay, thank you, and thanks again for the question. So latest data we have again, 7th of January for our residents, says that there are 0 patients waiting over 104 weeks who are aged 0 to 18, 19 waiting 78 to 103 weeks, and 213 waiting 65 to 77 weeks. So just to be very clear that we monitor those numbers very closely, and we're required to report them through our Tier 1 and other national reporting. In terms of the second part of the question, essentially about transition of patients as they reach 18 years of age. So as a general rule, paediatric services won't accept new patient referrals who are aged over 17. If new referrals come in when a child is anything from 16 onwards, depending on the condition, they may be sent straight through to adult services. Anyone who is over 17 and previously seen by paediatrics would continue to be seen by them until they transition at 18 or before. And if they're waiting for a procedure, obviously their referral to treatment clock, as we call it, their waiting time continues to tick and be monitored. All of our providers have transition policies to support managing this. And as I say, those policies provide that greater level of detail in terms of how it's physically managed. Hopefully that helps.
Thanks very much, Phil. Tracy?
And finally, a question on maternity services. According to NHS England, the single greatest reason for a hospital admission is to give birth. As both freestanding birthing units in the patch are closed and home births are suspended within our ICS, there remain 2 units that provide NHS maternity services within Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, namely Royal Stoke and Queen's Hospital Burton. I understand that the ICB commissioned the vast majority of maternity services for the ICS residents. So what is the expected total ICB spend on maternity services for ICS residents 23-24? And what is the total expected maternity service spend 23-24 commissioned by the ICB provided at Royal